Hello, dear students, viewers, my dear colleagues. Hope you are all well. Dear students of class 9th, first of all, let me tell you, I am discussing with you people the chapter number 3rd of your component political science, so from your term first syllabus. And from the same very chapter, we are discussing about the things. What is our election system of India? The system of elections within the country India. So, dear students, I think we have covered up all the subtopics of the same chapter. So let me briefly recapitulate you people what we were discussing last time. I was talking to you people how this election campaigning ends, and ultimately how this polling date is announced, and when the votes are casted. The political right of the Indian citizens, they just exercise their political right without any bias, whether you are a male or a female. Only the candidates must be attained at the age of 18, and he or she can cast his vote to his favorite leader. And lastly, the counting day of the votes is announced by the election commission, and on the same day media is there on the tenterhooks to declare the results. So we do have here this electronic voting machine system. Now the ballot box is replaced by the SAM in 2004 year. So this was the thing which I was trying to make understand how this very last step ends this election process within the country. Now this is the way of the huge slogans, different manifestos passed and published by the different political parties. Voters are convinced, the rosy promises are shown to them, and last ultimately they cast their votes. Results are declared and parties are formulated. Now the question comes here, the topic rather, which I have chosen for you people today. That is, and it's also the question mark to the election process of India. To claim that India is a democratic country, it's also the question mark to the democratic nature of the Indian this judiciary system, Indian electoral system rather. That what is really the elections conducted in India free and fair? Is it really democratic in nature? There not any inclusion of false names, what I said to you last time, and exclusion of the genuine names in the voters list? If that is there, we must admit this thing, that then it's completely rigging in nature. Don't we witness sometimes what media exposes, that it's the misuse of government facilities and officials by the ruling parties? Don't they try to show their worth, show their power, show their muscle power, and they try to misuse these officials, and they kill the very essence of this political process? Or sometimes we have witnessed the case, don't the ruling party use excessive amount of money by the rich candidates or the big parties to win the voters? That's again the question mark. Or don't we recognize the intimidation of the voters and rigging on the polling days? So dear students, these are the different questions from analytical point of view, to analyze, to observe, to examine the actual and the original nature of the electoral process that's taking place in the country India. But I have tried to give answer to all those questions, but let me try to answer these questions constitutionally. That's why the last subtopic of this election system of India is entitled as like this: what makes elections in India democratic? If we are claiming that Indian elections are democratic in nature, so dear students, let's try to find out the answer to all these queries and questions. That what makes elections in India more democratic, more original, more to achieve the essence of this electoral process. Let's try to find out the answer of all those questions in this very short video. Okay, dear students, so the topic for today is that's what makes elections in India democratic. It's like this here: what makes elections in India democratic, or how can we say that Indian elections is free and they are fair? So how do we can claim that they are free and they are fair? So one simple way of checking whether elections are fair or not is to look at who conducts the elections. Are they independent? Are they independent of the government, or can the government or the ruling party influence or pressurize them? Do they have enough powers to be able to conduct the free and fair elections? Do they actually use these powers? Dear students, these are certain questions that needs a detailed discussion to discuss who is conducting the elections, is ruling party influencing the power, is the power party in action, party in process, party ruling party, are they not trying to influence or to buy the votes at the cost of their influence? If it is the case that it kills the very much essence of the electoral process. So the first step which we must recognize, that is in Indian democratic system, in Indian democratic electoral system rather, the first point that reveals the original nature or the fair and the free and fair, transparent and accountable elections, that is the Independent Election Commission. That's we do have here in India the independent election commission. Dear students, it's the constitutional body. Constitutional body is here that very body that got its birth, that got its shape and position from the constitutional point of view. When the framers of the Indian constitution were designing the constitution, they took this point into cognizance, that let's have the free and fair election commission in India, and that to independent election commission that's not pressurized, that's not forced, that's not questioned, that's not forced by this ruling or existing political party. So it's Article 324, the students, it's Article 324 in the Indian Constitution that talks about this establishment of the Election Commission of India, right? So it's Article 324. So if you are having a look to the screen, here is a one man. I googled this person. It's the incumbent Chief Election Commission of India. It is Sunil Arora. Dear students, let me tell you here, it's Sunil Arora, the incumbent Election Commissioner of Chief Election Commission of India. Since December 2018, here it's Sunil Arora, the incumbent, the present Election Commission of India. So to answer all those questions, to all those queries, it's quite crystal. We are quite apparent to say that India is having a quite positive view regarding this electoral process within the country. In our country, elections are conducted. They are conducted fairly by an independent and a very powerful election commission that enjoys the same kind of independence that the judiciary enjoys. That other organs of the government, we do have the executive wings, we are having the legislative wings, and we are having the judiciary wings. The wings of the governments, which they are enjoying the same status, same position, same credibility, same recognition, same authorization is executed, is enjoyed by the same commission, what we simply call an Election Commission of India. So dear students, this election commissioner, the chief election commissioner, like we are having the presently the doctor, this man Sunil Arora, it's appointed by the president of the India. He is not someone who is selected, but appointed by the president of India. But once the person appointed, the chief election commissioner is not answerable to the president or the government. See the beauty here. So let's check the strength and the beauty of the Constitution of India. The moment the person is appointed, he is not answerable to the president, because there is one bleak chance is there, rather not bleak but one absolute chance is there, that maybe the president can be from the ruling party as well. So that's why here, although the person is appointed, although he is fulfilling all the criteria and rod to be the chief election commissioner of the country, but he is not answerable to the president later on. Whatever he is doing within the ambit, among the contours of the constitution of the country. So this is what I was saying to you people, that the beauty of this Constitution of India, if the president appoints the chief election commission, but he is not answerable to that very president. Okay. Even if the ruling party of the government does not like what the commission does, it's virtually impossible for it to remove the chief election commissioner. So they are not in a power position, they are not in a capacity or courage to do one thing, to remove the chief election commissioner of the country. But neither is answerable to that very person whom we simply call the president of the country, right? Okay, if we talk about the headquarters of the Chief Election Commission of India, dear students, it's established at New Delhi. Headquarters is established at New Delhi. It's established at New Delhi. The headquarters of the is established at New Delhi. Okay, the established date of the establishment is 25th of January 1950. For your general knowledge point of view, I'm adding these points to you. It's 25th of Jan 1950. This is the day National Voters Day is celebrated on the same day, that is 25th of January 1950. Okay, the students, when we talk about this National Voters Day and establishment of the day, it's the same, it's coincidental. When we talk about the powers of the Chief Election Commission of India, what are the powers that he's enjoying in actuality, in reality? So if I'm telling you that there are very few election commissions in the world have such wide-ranging powers as Election Commission of India do have. So among the different countries of the world, taking the review from the various constitutions of the different countries of the world, various democratic processes after observing, after the profound observation of the different electoral processes of the different countries of the world, we are having only certain countries where we can recognize such smooth, accountable election process that is happening in India. The first thing is that Election Commission takes decisions on every aspect of conduct and control of elections, from the announcement of the elections to the declaration of the results. So every step that's taken for formulating, for the procedure that's jotted down, that's only by the one person, that's the Election Commission of country. From the day first and the day last, the whole process is done by the declaration, by the announcement of the same person. There is no one who is going to amend, to change, or to deny, or to rebut the same order. Next point is that it implements the code of conduct and punishes any candidates or a party that violates it. As what I said to you earlier in a previous talk, the specific code of conduct is announced by the Election Commission, which is an independent body, the constitutional independent body, enjoying the absolute powers. That the same person, Election Commissioner, he's announcing the special code of conduct, and anyone who is finding violating or trespassing this code of conduct, and he or she is punished, that person is put behind the bars. Later on, the third point is that during this election period, the Election Commission can order the government to follow some guidelines to prevent the misuse of the government powers, to enhance its chances to win elections, or to transfer some government officials. So exactly that also comes within the rulings of the code of conduct. The existing government cannot change the cannot transfer the officials like bureaucrats. We can't change the deputy development commission of one district to the another district within this election process. The moment the fray starts, the race begins, we can't do all these things. We can't lay even the foundation stones of any building by any MLA or by any parliament member. So at the moment it is announced, the power ceases. You just as you think it, that the power ceases. It becomes actionless and motionless by the order of this Chief Election Commissioner. So to stop rigging, to stop discrepancies, to stop fraud and to prove fraudulent. So that's why these things are stopped by the Election Commission, to maintain the decency of the elections. Okay, when on election day duty, government officers work under the control of the Election Commission and not by the government. The moment Election Commission, the voting date is done, it is announced, the persons who are appointed there to run the system, to have the process of this casting votes smoothly, fairly, and in a transparent manner. The persons who are appointed there, they are governed only by one authority, that's Election Commission. That's not the existing government there. That's not incumbent government. So to have the least chance of rigging, we do this process. So dear students, so these were the major certain steps, certain powers which are exercised by the Election Commission of India. So if you talk about the brief last 25 years history or so, the Election Commission has begun to exercise all its powers and even expand them. It's very common now for the Election Commission to reprimand the government and administration for their lapses when the election officials came to the opinion that polling was not fair in some booths or even an entire constituency. They can order to repoll there. So see this competency of the chair. If we witness somewhere, if any person complains that or media highlight this point, that somewhere the elections were held, but they were not held fairly. There was some sort of rigging. There was some sort of indiscipline that killed the very essence of this, to attain this, the essence of electoral process, and to attain its essence in its letter and spirit. So if this point comes in the notes of the election commissioner, immediately he can announce the new date to have a refreshing repoll the same election there within the same constituency if it happens, and that if we do have such complaint from any particular constituency. The ruling party, but when it comes to the ruling party is often, they do not like the powers of election commission, because election commission tries to bring transparency, it tries to bring more maturity, it tries to bring more accountability, it tries to bring more fairness within the process and system. But the ruling existing party, the incumbent party, every time tries to annoy the election commission. They try to annoy the election commission by trespassing the things. They do not like these powers, but they have to obey. But the question is here, although that's a ruling party, but when it comes to the powers of the election commission, definitely they are bound to accept, admit and embrace all the orders, follow all those orders in its originality. They cannot deny them, they can't refute or refuse the orders passed by the election commission of the country. Okay, this would not have happened if the election commission was not independent and powerful. Exactly when we say the independence of this election commission, the first point that makes the Indian electoral process more democratic, more powerful, more mature, if it was not possible if it was not independent, if it was not as independent as we do have in Indian judiciary system, where the laws are interpreted, where the laws are introspected. Same is here, the election process introspected by the same person whom we call the election commissioner of the country. That's why the framers of the Indian constitution took this thing into consideration, that the moment we do have this Indian electoral process, India claiming to be the mature democracy, let's try to find a unique and a very extraordinary system for conducting smooth and fair elections, what we simply call this independent election commission. So dear students, I am sure that you have now developed the one point of my from my talk today, that's what makes elections democratic. That's the point number first, that's this independent election commission within the country. So I hope you can now pen down things. Your vision has been now broadened a bit to look things from the different narratives, to crack those narratives where you can claim that India is still having a free this rigging or fraud election system. Hope you cannot disappoint me after you are asked to answer all these questions. Till then, I will join you back. Take care and all the best.